Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the 40th anniversary Murasame Liger from Takara Tomy. This is the third new model in this line after the Blade Liger and the Liger Zero, and it completes the mainline set of hero Ligers from Chaotic Century, Rebirth Century, and Genesis. We're going to unbox the kit, compare it to some other stuff, and of course check it out in action as well. Let's get started.
Robo Shop.
Alright, so as usual, I can't really fit the whole box into the frame here because these AZ boxes are just humongous, but we also kind of know what to expect by this point, right? It's an AZ box, so it's got the white background, it's got the sort of top-down shot of the Zoid here, and the logo that they've been using. I will say, though, it's kind of interesting to see how they've slowly moved away from the, the Blade Liger, which is 100% top down, to a view that sort of shows the Zoid a bit more. It's just sort of, they're becoming more and more like standard Zoid boxes, is what I'm saying, I think. On the side here, it just says Murasame Liger. We have the sort of the portrait shot here on the side, and the same thing here. And on the back, let's do it like this. We have this exact same angle that they shoot every single one of these from, and on the bottom, it shows that it walks, and it shows it with the blade deployed forward and the deployed on the side here. And also this weapon here on the foreleg that we're going to have to take a look at the motorized model. I'm actually not sure I remember this. And before I completely knock everything over, if you heard that in the background there, at the bottom here we have the usual shot of the basically the inner skeleton and all of the armor parts. So let's get this baby out of the box. Also preferably without knocking anything down. It's all a bit precarious here. You can see there's a lot of paints up there because I'm doing this as usual in my workshop. Slice this open and maybe get it open without making a fool of myself. As usual, it has this tray in here that I can't get out. Here we go. So we have, oh, interesting. Did not expect that. We have the instructions here and the stickers and an addendum sheet and the blade. We're going to take a look at all of that in a second. Parts here we have, this is I think the the contraption that holds the blade. More parts here for the tail and other various things. Armor bits. Yeah, this is what's supposed to be the gold parts. Let's get this out of the back real quick so that we can take a look. Yeah, I don't know what it is. This is ugly, folks. I'm sorry, but yeah, not a fan. They had perfectly good looking gold feet on the Liger Zero, and now this. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Kotobukiya has the same problem where sometimes the gold parts look really nice, and then sometimes they look like that. Here we have, it's all taped in for some reason. This is the display base that goes together like it always does. If this is your first time seeing me review one of these, this goes on here. And then this is the little tool that you actually need to assemble the Zoid. That's come with all of these. And also the masterpiece Zoids back in the good old days. Here we have another thing that I can't get out of the box. Yeah, this is your standard AZ/Masterpiece gearbox. This is what they all look like. And a couple more parts baggies here. This has oh yeah, this is sort of the tracks that you move the sword on. The clear part for the eyes, a couple other bits and pieces. And here we get to the less interesting stuff, and this is all the mechanical bits that are all the same on all of these. The large caps and the medium caps and the small caps in here, no doubt. Oh, and we have, okay, this is worth looking at. A little bit of pre-painted stuff. Come on. I'm just brute forcing this unboxing, aren't I? Yep, this is the top and bottom jaw, and it has paint. And see, these are very nicely gold chromed. Why can't the feet look like that? But what's also worth pointing out is these types of parts very often come just purely molded in gold. And then you have the entire inside of the mouth being the same color as the teeth, which looks kind of dumb. So this is really nice to see. It's surely going to enhance the look of the Zoid quite a bit, or at least tickle me in the OCD a little. Here we have more mechanical bits that have come with every single one of these. They're also pre-painted in the same places as always. The pistons. I'm sounding maybe a little dismissive. I do think it's very nice that they're maintaining this and not complaining. It's just nothing new. And, I'm liking the look of that. So here we have, these are inner mechanical bits that go on sort of the side of the torso around where the legs attach. These are not different from what we've seen before, but these armor bits here, I'm looking at my phone screen and they look just blue. I'll be really curious to see what this actually looks like when I'm editing this video, because they are not blue. It's a very nice sort of dark green blue color. Actually, I really hope this is going to translate properly in pictures at least, because it is not the blue that I'm seeing on my screen right now. It's if you're into Warhammer, it's basically Sons of Horus green. Slightly darker, actually. This is a really cool color. Yeah. Alright, you've won me over with your armor color, Murasame Liger. I'm going to clear all this off my table, and then we're going to take a look at what's in that bag with the instructions. So, instructions and other things of various natures. Let's take a look here. We have, first of all, a standard AZ instruction booklet. These are about A4 size. It's not actually A4, I don't think, but it's about that size. This is the box art here, and then a parts list, and separate explanation for some of the funkier stuff for some reason. And then, I don't know if I've shown this before. Here you see what that tool I was talking about is for. The AZ Zoids don't have rubber caps. The caps that you see in the pictures are more like these screw-on. My tool terminology is failing me, but you press them on and you twist them a quarter turn, and that's how they stay in place. This is also something that is not impossible to screw up, and then you ruin your parts, actually. And then, of course, instructions take you through all of the building steps. This is not terribly interesting to look at on camera. It looks like the main pieces have very nice color separation here. This is, if I remember correctly, this was actually done with stickers on the original Tomy model, so this is nice to see. And then it shows how the sword / blade on the back here deploys. There's for some reason a picture of the stickers, and that's it. Speaking of, Here we have the sticker sheet, which, of course, as with all of these, is not... I mean, it has some of these standard NJR-based designs here, but then these stripes and these characters and these two that actually say Murasame Liger on them, this is all bespoke stuff. Very cool. There is an addendum here to the instructions, and I am looking at this and I am frankly thinking of the "they're the same picture" meme, because don't do this, do this, and it looks exactly the same. Maybe I can figure this out. If I can, it'll be later in the video. And finally, we have the Murasame blade here, which I'm a little bit reluctant to take out of the bag because it's obviously in this bag so that it doesn't get nicked, which it kind of has anyway. There's a couple of minor scratches here that probably won't show up on camera, but it's not 100% perfect. It is a very, very glossy chrome coloring, chrome plating. Do not speak the English today. It's also quite sharp and pointy. So the yeah, we have this inscription here. These two characters that probably say Murasame, but who knows? Somebody who speaks Japanese, that's who knows. And yeah, quite impressed with chrome plating on this, although the question with something like this is always how well it's going to hold up over time. Anyway, that's it. I am now, of course, as you know, going to build this thing, and then we are going to check it out in the photo booth. Before we do that, though, I figured it out. The text here says something about the orientation of the parts, and I just kept looking at this and thinking, what the hell, this looks the same. What is different is K3 here is flipped 180 degrees. I don't know if you guys can see this, but you know, if anyone's still building this one and now in what is, by the time this video comes out, probably going to be May of 2024, this is what they want you to pay attention to. This is backwards. Okay, and now, excuse me while I build this.
Alright, let's start with the gimmicks. First off, we have these pile bunkers in the front legs here that you extend with this little tab on the side. Nothing really to write home about, but it is worth noting that this is executed much better than on the original Genesis model. Next is the blade mechanism, and I'm going to leave the sound on for this clip because I want you guys to hear something. Yeah, there's a coil-sprung ratchet mechanism in there that helps the blade stay in place, and it feels really beefy and solid. It's just nice that they went the extra mile with this to make it work properly. Now, let's see it walking. Yeah, not the best ever if we're honest. I think the blade on the back really throws the balance out of whack and it just doesn't look that convincing. Unless you put it on the display stand as usual, that's where it really shines. I really like how the blade contraption is attached to one of the moving parts on the side too. And up close with the lights off, you can also see that the eyes light up pretty well. Now, if you want to have it walk with the blade extended, they give you two of these extra parts that the instructions refer to as claws, but they're really just stabilizers. You attach them to the legs like this, and then, yeah, you can see they're basically there to stop it from falling over sideways with the blade out. What's pretty cool though is that they can be stored in this armor piece that goes on the back here, so you don't need to keep track of where you're storing them. If you have a big collection like me, I'm sure you can see why I really appreciate things like this. Also, since I skipped over it in the unboxing, here's the pilot figure. If you've seen Genesis, then you know Ryuji actually sits in the cockpit like this, and this is actually him with the spiky hair and everything. It's not the prettiest figure, but they could have totally just done a standard upright sitting generic Zoids pilot here and nobody would have complained, so it's just really cool that they went the extra mile with this. Now, comparisons. Here's the original motorized Murasame Liger from the Genesis line, and you probably won't be surprised to see that the AZ is way bigger. I also think the pictures don't really do the overall difference in quality and detail justice. The new one is just really a vast improvement in every way. The original does have one thing going for it though. Yep, no fun spring-loaded action on the AZ, unfortunately. Now, before we take a look at the other AZ models, here's a comparison to the Zoids Aggressive version from Kotobukiya. This was a series of smaller scale action figures, and it's what the Supernova model kits from a few years ago were based on. Pretty cool and better proportions than the original Tomy kit, but also kind of lacking in detail, and when Supernova blew them up to a larger scale, well, it didn't help. Anyway, here's a comparison to the AZ Blade Liger. I kinda have to say, I liked this one when it came out, but with two better AZ Ligers having been released in the meantime, it really stands out to me how weird the proportions on the Blade Liger are. Case in point, here's the Liger Zero, which I still think is the best version of this particular Zoid. And here's all three of them. You be the judge, but for my money, the Liger Zero is still my favorite, although it's really close. The Murasame Liger is extremely detailed and the collars are absolutely fantastic. I think as an adaptation, let's say, of the design into the AZ line, especially because the original motorized version is kind of notoriously crappy, it's probably actually the best job they've done so far. I just still think the Liger Zero is the cooler looking model in the end, if that makes sense. Speaking of the collars, by the way, if you're one of the 5 people who don't skip my unboxings, you might remember I said my phone's camera doesn't really capture the collar of the armor here correctly. I tried to color correct this in Photoshop for the stills at least, and what you're looking at here is pretty close, but I honestly think it's probably going to depend on the way your screen's calibrated as well. One thing I can tell you with absolute certainty is that it looks really nice in real life. This also brings me to one of my few criticisms of this kit though, which is that the stickers are really not ideal. I wanted to put them on because the stripes add a lot to the overall appearance of the Zoid, but of course stickers on top of glossy metallic plastic means you're going to get silvering, plus they go over panel line detail in some cases. It doesn't look terrible or anything, it's just not ideal, and I feel like the stickers and the material they use to mold the armor in are kind of at odds with each other. That's about it for my complaints though. I remember when I first saw the first photos of this kit, I immediately thought, well, finally the Murasame Liger is getting a motorized model that doesn't look like crap. I don't have the Zoids Aggressive version because I thought those were just too lacking in detail, and I'm not really a big fan of the Genesis Ligers in general anyway, so I can't speak to how that one compares, but this version is definitely fantastic. The clear part on the head, the part separation of the spikes, the overall detail, the proportions, the ginormous size of the blade, everything works. Honestly, if you're a fan of Zoids Genesis and you don't have this weird aversion to motorized Zoids that some people seem to have developed this century, I guarantee you this is the Murasame Liger you want. It's very clear that a lot of love and attention to detail went into this kit, and whoever's in charge of R&D at Takara Tomy these days actually cares about Zoids and wants to do right by them. Well, and that's it for this one, folks. I've got 2 more things from Two Toys to show you, so I guess that's what's next, and then maybe I'll bridge the gap until the AZ Deathsaurer comes out with a few videos about older models. So if you like Zoids or mecha models in general, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and give this video a like while you're at it. I've also got PayPal and Patreon links in the description if you want to support my channel, but just doing the algorithm thingamabobs and not skipping over the ads helps a ton as well. So thanks for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.